If you're looking for a job, you probably know that a key step on your job search journey is putting together a compelling resume. So today, we're diving deep into resume skills.
Which skills do recruiters actually care about? Let's dive in.
I'm Jen, a career coach and your go-to gal for all things career advice.
And I'm Gina, and hopefully we're going to help some people get their next job.
Welcome to Job Search Stories.
Your skills are all in there, and you know how to break them down, but how do you actually list them on a resume without sounding like a legit robot? A lot of people are using AI, which we'll get into, but is it better to list your skills or actually describe them?
It depends on where you're highlighting the skills.
Right.
So if we're talking about a pure skills section on a resume, listing them works perfectly. These can be in bullet points. Don't ever, in my opinion, do just a straight bulleted list. It takes up too much space. It's a waste of white space. But you do want to list them out. If you're including skills in your professional summary or your work experience, this is where you can describe them a little bit more. And so when you're doing that, you're adding context, not just to how you use the skill, but what were the results and the impact of using that skill.
Right.
And so that's what's really important.
I want to know how many skills you have. List them out. Give me the 20 skills, but...
Well, 20 relevant skills,
Right.
Yeah. You don't want juggling on your resume for a YouTube channel manager.
Trying to find a way for juggling to be relevant for my job.
I don't think juggling is ever going to be relevant on your resume.
Hater.
I mean, if someone put juggling on there, I'd be like, yeah, we can talk about that. I can't juggle. What if I'm learning new skills? Should I put that on my actual resume?
Let's say you're taking a course or you're earning a certification. You can absolutely put that on your resume and you would just give context. You would put in progress.
Okay.
And then you would include, let's say, an expected completion date. So it's good to put that information there. Realistically, you don't want to put skills that you're not comfortable using and being able to demonstrate a use of. So if you're early on and you're not able to actually apply that skill in your work, then you probably want to just leave it off.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not going to say I'm good at something.
You are not going to put that you're a juggler on your resume because you and I both know you cannot juggle.
Let's move past the juggling for a second. I don't want to get dragged for juggling anymore, but I will say I should not put that I'm learning something new if it's just not even relevant to the job.
Correct.
You heard it here first. Don't put it on there.
Unless it's a fun Easter egg where you're like...
juggling.
But if you actually have the skill, don't put juggling and then they ask you, oh my gosh, like you can juggle. And then you have to say, no, actually I can't.
Well, you're saying that it's not super relevant. So if I put juggling on there, it's not like they're going to ask me, juggle right now.
If you put juggling on your resume, I guarantee someone's going to ask you about it.
Okay, but they're not going to ask me to do it, so I can just say,
and that's
yeah, I
if
juggle.
You make it to the interview.
Right,
Because
right.
if they see juggling on there and it's not relevant, they're going to be like, what is this?
Easter egg. Anyways, okay. I have another game.
Okay.
You know, I love to play games. It's time for a skills showdown. Essentially, we're going to call it Keep It or Leave It. I'm going to show you 3 different skill sections from 3 different resumes, and you're basically going to tell me whether that skills section is formatted correctly.
Okay.
Especially for the role, because we have a couple different ones.
Ready.
So for our first skills list, these are skills that are being put on our first resume. It's bulleted out, and they say things like effective communicator, problem solver, excellent leadership, adaptability. What do you think?
With the skills section, I can see 4 skills listed in bullets, which bullets are good. I would not exceed more than 4. In terms of, am I going to keep this or am I going to leave it? I would keep this, but then add on to it.
Yeah,
because
it's kind of bare bones.
It's bare bones, and it's a lot of soft skills. So we see effective communicator, problem solver, excellent leadership, adaptability. Okay, these are great. We'll talk about these and how transferable they are. But you also need to add more. Where are those hard skills? Because you need a mix. So keep, but add on.
Right. It's kind of going back to what you said about creating a resume when you have no experience. Just because you have no experience, it shouldn't just be soft skills.
Correct.
Now we have a sales resume, and there's a lot of acronyms that I don't even know.
I recognize one.
CRM, right?
Yes.
Me too. Okay. So one of them is CRM. The other one says ADP. Another one says CDK. And then, okay, I think I know what E-leads are. What do you think?
So for this resume, What I'm gathering is that these are hard skills. I have to admit, I don't have a sales background myself, so I actually don't know what these acronyms mean.
Right. I wouldn't know what this means if I was just looking at it.
So, in terms of keep it or leave it, I would say leave it, but I want to add a little bit of context here. So, this is a good time to mention that you should be writing your resume for a dual audience.
Yeah.
You're writing it, of course, for the recruiter who's going to read it, but you absolutely have to write your resume for the applicant tracking system.
They hate to hear that, but
I know you
tell
don't
them.
like it. I know you don't like it. And I'm very sorry. And I really wish that this was not the way the world runs.
They exist.
But
ATSs exist.
They exist and they are really helpful because there are a lot of people that apply for jobs and recruiters really do need a tool to help identify qualified candidates. So when we're thinking about having acronyms on your resume, it's okay to include them, but also spell out the word, spell out the skill, the CRM, the software, whatever it is, because an ATS may be scanning for the word or the acronym.
Right.
So if you've got just the acronym, it may be filtered out. Do put hard skills, but also add in some of those soft skills. Sales, you need to negotiate.
Yeah.
You need great interpersonal skills, strong communication, both written and spoken communication skills. So it's really important to include those on there to make sure that you're a well-rounded candidate.
The next one is a skills list for a digital marketer. It's in 3 different columns, essentially, and it lists out Adobe Creative Suite, communication, time management, SEMrush, Meta, Google Ads, content creation, social media, Microsoft 365, and Google Analytics. How does this sound for a digital marketer resume?
This skill section is really great. I would leave everything that's on here. I typically say have between 10 to 15 skills. This has 9. Great amount. Great mix of hard and soft skills. I know exactly what these are. Anybody who's reading it, a recruiter, an ATS, is going to be able to scan this and pick out those great resume keywords. So kudos, you did a fantastic job.
Does this look okay, though?
In the episode before, we talked about not having columns on a resume. What are your thoughts? Because this has some columns.
One of the main kind of formatting features that an applicant tracking system cannot parse are actually tables, not columns. They can't parse information in headers or footers. So that information, if it's there, may not come through. So columns do work.
Right.
Especially when you're using it as a formatting method for skills. This is a great way to include multiple skills without taking up a bunch of space on your resume.
Yeah.
So it's just important to know what an ATS can and can't scan.
Right.
Some of them can scan headers and footers, and some of them can scan tables, but they're not all created equal. So you just want to make sure that you're safeguarding yourself because you don't know what type of ATS an employer is using.
That ATS, it gets people every time. Jen has the tips, so listen to her. She's the only person who she'd listen to.
Want to know which resume skills actually get past the filters? We know what recruiters are really looking for. Search for Indeed on YouTube.
Nailed the format. People know how to format now. But what skills do recruiters actually care about?
The number one skill that employers are looking for is communication.
Right.
So if you have it, and if you're a strong communicator, absolutely put it on your resume. And when we think about in-demand skills, these are really when we talk about those transferable skills, because if we're talking just generally what skills are going to be useful across the board, soft skills are really what you're looking at. And ones like leadership, adaptability, critical thinking, even a lot of those skills that we saw on that first skill section that you showed me, those are all really great transferable skills that employers are looking for and that you would want to include.
You did a video and it was top skills to add to your resume. And it was really about like future proofing your career. When people say just learn a new skill, what should they actually learn?
New skills that you should learn are very dependent on your industry, but it's actually really interesting because the Indeed Hiring Lab did research about a year ago and identified kind of like the number one hard skill employers were looking for from like a broad context. And it's actually computer literacy skills.
Okay.
So when we think about what does that actually mean, think about the Microsoft Office suite. Do you know Outlook? Do you know Excel? Do you know PowerPoint presentations? If you already have these, of course, it could be great to include. If you don't already have them, this is an area in which you can upskill. But it really just depends because if you're in sales and if you don't know Salesforce, that's so broadly used. That's a software you could upskill in. So at a broad level, computer literacy, but if you're a little bit more advanced in your career, it just kind of depends.
What if I was the fastest typer in my middle school computer class? Should I put that on there?
Did you type fast, but also with 0 mistakes?
I mean, I don't know. Like, they probably gave you a little ding when you messed up, but
Well, I think
I'm-
that actually impacts your word per minute score. So if you have an impressive one and you're applying for roles like a data entry clerk, then you should absolutely include that because that is relevant.
Well, I know what my next job is. I just want to know, this is just a silly little question. What are some skills that you would never, in a million years, ever put on your resume?
Juggling.
Hater.
Skills that you would not put on your resume, skills that are not relevant to the role that you're applying for.
Right.
Roll up relevancy, that always takes the lead.
Juggling is relevant to every job. You can multitask. You can juggle a lot of projects.
Then that is multitasking.
Okay, but I learned how to multitask from juggling.
Isn't ATS going to look for juggling or is it going to look for multitasking?
I'll be like juggling, comma, multitasking.
Just put the multitasking.
Okay, whatever.
Okay. Skills that you would not put on your resume. Skills that you do not have. Skills that are not role relevant. And then when we think about some specialized skills like languages, skills that you're not proficient in.
Yeah.
So for example, if you took a Spanish class in high school and you still remember some key phrases, don't be tempted to put that on your resume if you cannot carry a full conversation and really be able to apply that skill in the everyday work environment.
Yeah, I can only say a couple phrases, but that's good for like when you're traveling. That's not good for an actual job. Okay, so
You're just gonna like keep asking where the bathroom is? Is that
I know how to say that in Spanish. Don't we all? We got a question straight from our comments section. This person says, if someone has the same job for 10 to 15 years, is it okay to showcase just the one company? How would they go about displaying the skills that they've gotten over time at the same company?
That's a really great question because I think it's fantastic if you've worked at the same company for that long and have been able to experience career progression. If you've been able to grow in your career, you can absolutely show that on your resume. You would just break out the different roles in which you've had. You've talked about this before where it's, maybe you came as an intern, then graduated to an associate, then graduated to a manager.
Because I grow at companies, okay?
She's elevating her
Yes.
career.
Yes.
So, of course, you want to start with your most recent experience first. And the way that you're going to be able to show that skill progression is within the bullet points.
Yeah.
Maybe you have used the same skills throughout, but as you've grown, maybe your impact has grown.
Right.
So, yes, you've been able to use the skills that you had as an intern versus a manager, but now you're having bigger impact as a manager.
Yeah.
And so you would show that within the results and impact for sure.
A lot of people ask us how they can future-proof their resume. We need to know what skills will still matter when AI is doing basically everything. What are the 5 skills you should list on your resume so that you can stay competitive as AI is kind of just reshaping how we work in the job market?
There's been a lot of research on this already. And I think one great source that people can look to is the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2025. So this skills list is actually pulled from there. The number one skill that they've included is AI literacy. So with that, think ChatGPT, think prompt engineering. How are you using AI to make you more efficient in your work? Other skills that are going to be really important are data analytics, cybersecurity, creative problem solving. And then the one that I would throw in there as well is emotional intelligence, a very human skill that AI can't replace.
Why is it so valuable as a skill on your resume, even in this AI-driven world?
So when we think about the tasks that AI can do, they're very structured. You put in a prompt, it spits out an answer. It's a very black and white kind of experience.
Yeah.
But the human experience is not very black and white.
Right.
When we work with coworkers, you have to learn how to navigate conversations, how to navigate conflict. And that's really what emotional intelligence is all about. So while there are certain tasks that AI is going to be very useful at, and very good for you to implement, emotional intelligence as a skill is still very valuable.
People are out here marrying AI. So I think you should tell them that that's a bad idea because AI doesn't have emotional intelligence.
I don't want to step in anybody's way of happiness. You do you.
basically what you're saying. It's really important to adapt, stay flexible in this changing landscape, and that's what's going to future-proof your resume.
Absolutely.
I do have something that I want to point out to you. This doesn't have much to do with resume skills, but I want to call out a post from one of your favorite drag queens, Corey King.
Love already.
We had to bring drag queens in here because she loves them. Corey King says in this tweet on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, "What's up, Twitter? Are the haters still mad at our reigning queen, Ginger, or did they finally download the Indeed app?" I agree. Stop being a hater. Get a job.
I love a random Indeed mention when you're calling out haters.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Because usually people are calling us out.
Yeah, so it's the reverse. It's being like, use Indeed.
Get a job.
Yeah.
And also, if you need a job, come to Indeed. I love it.
Yeah. Also, download the Indeed mobile app because it will help you find the jobs. That's all the time we have for today. I love talking to you, Jen, but I'm just really glad you're here with me today because you always give invaluable advice. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you have any questions, Jen loves answering them, so you should drop them in the comments section. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.